The first meeting. The starport on the edge of the Andral system was always full of color, sound and pride. Merchants in golden robes shouted about rare crystals. Tall warriors in steel armor moved in groups, and alien nobles passed by with servants carrying shining gifts. In this place, appearances meant power, and those who looked poor were often ignored or mocked on that morning. A human woman named Lena stepped out of the docking bay. Her clothes were simple, plain brown fabric, patched at the sleeves, and a pair of shoes worn thin from long travel. She looked nervous, but her eyes carried determination. She had come for work. Work not just for herself, but for her younger brother waiting back on Earth. As she entered the lobby of the Starport Company headquarters, she felt the weight of alien stares on her. The lobby was built to impress. Huge marble-like pillars that reached the ceiling, glowing banners written in 10 languages, and a front desk carved from crystal stone. Behind the desk sat an alien receptionist, tall and blue-skinned with shimmering scales along her neck. Her golden uniform shone bright under the lights. The receptionist looked at Lena once, then looked again. A small laugh escaped her lips, sharp and mocking. "What is this? A human in rags walking into our hall? Did you take a wrong turn? The service corridor is behind the station," she said in a cold tone. Other aliens in the lobby turned, some covering their mouths to hide smiles, others chuckling openly. Lena froze for a moment, her cheeks burned red, but she straightened her back. I'm here for the interview," she said softly. Her voice trembled, but she forced each word out. The receptionist leaned back, her eyes filled with amusement. "Interview? Here in that outfit? Our company serves governors and admirals, not beggars." She tapped her clawed finger on the desk. "Leave before you embarrass yourself further." Lena felt small, yet something inside her told her not to move. She thought of her brother, his weak smile when he told her not to worry, that he would be fine if she failed. She could not go back with empty hands, so she stood her ground. "Please," Lena said. "I was told to come here. I will wait until the one in charge arrives." The receptionist's laugh grew louder. "You? Wait here? Oh, this will be entertaining. Let us see how long you last." Minutes turned to hours. Aliens walked past her, each giving strange looks, some whispering, some smirking. Lena kept her eyes forward, standing silently, ignoring the ache in her legs. Finally, the doors to the high chamber opened. A human man walked in, tall and calm, wearing a dark suit. The entire lobby grew silent as he passed because this man was not just a manager. He was the company's human boss, a leader trusted even by alien lords. The receptionist quickly straightened her posture. Her mocking smile gone, she bowed her head, ready to impress. But the boss's eyes did not stop on her. Instead, he walked directly to Lena, his face serious but kind. "You made it," he said. His voice carrying warmth, he reached out his hand to her. "I was waiting for you." The entire hall froze. Whispers filled the air. The aliens could not believe what they were seeing. The woman they had mocked, the human they laughed at, was the one the boss himself had come to meet. The receptionist's face turned pale, her scales losing their shine. She bowed again quickly. Sir, I did not know. I thought—" The boss looked at her, his eyes sharp. "You thought wrong," he said firmly. "You judged without knowing, and you mocked without respect." Then he turned to Lena. "Come with me. We have much to discuss." As they walked past the stunned crowd, Lena's heart pounded. She had only hoped for a chance at work, but now it seemed something far greater was waiting. And in that silence, every alien in the hall understood something new. Humans were not to be measured by clothes or wealth or titles. Humans carried something deeper, something unseen, and this was only the beginning. Whispers in the boardroom, the boss led Lena through a wide corridor, the floor shining like water under the lights. Strange portraits of alien leaders lined the walls, each one painted in grand colors, staring down with pride. Yet the man walked calmly, ignoring them all. His focus was only on Lena. She followed nervously, her steps quick, her mind racing. Why had he spoken to her so kindly? Why had he said, "I was waiting for you"? She was no one important, just a girl from Earth with nothing but hope. Finally, they reached the boardroom, its doors tall as a fortress gate. Inside, a circle of alien executives sat around a glowing table, their robes heavy with jewels. Some had skin like glass, some had wings folded tight, some had faces hidden under masks of silver. They turned their heads at once when the boss entered, and when they saw Lena behind him, whispers spread like fire. Who is she? What is a human woman in rags doing here? Has the boss lost his mind? The boss raised his hand and silence fell. This is Lena, he said firmly. She is here because I chose her to be here. Lena felt her knees weaken. Her heart raced. She wanted to speak, but her voice would not rise. One of the aliens, tall and cloaked in red, leaned forward. With respect, human leader. This girl looks unfit even to clean the floors. How can she belong in this chamber? A low murmur of agreement filled the table. Their eyes judged her like blades. The boss did not flinch. Appearances deceive, he said, his voice calm yet sharp. Strength is not always seen in clothing, wealth, or titles. Sometimes it is hidden in the fire of the spirit. His words carried power, but still doubt lingered in the air. The red-cloaked alien scoffed. Fine words, but what can she do? What proof do you bring us? The boss turned to Lena, his gaze steady. Tell them why you came, he said gently. Her lips trembled, but she forced herself to speak. I came for work, she said, her voice small. My brother is sick back on Earth. I need to earn for him. I will do anything. I will not fail. The room grew quiet. The aliens shifted uncomfortably, unused to such plain honesty. The boss smiled faintly. And that, he said, is why she is here. Not because of wealth, not because of power, but because she carries something most of you have forgotten. Purpose. The words struck the air like thunder. Even the proud executives lowered their gaze, but the receptionist, who had been summoned to stand in the corner of the chamber, felt her scales burn with shame. She tried to defend herself. I only followed protocol, sir. I did not know she was... The boss's eyes turned cold. You laughed at her suffering. You judged a human by the cloth on her shoulders. And in doing so, you revealed your own weakness. The receptionist lowered her head, trembling. The entire chamber felt the weight of his tone. Then he turned once more to Lena. Your trial begins now, he said. You will not be handed respect, you will earn it. And I will give you the chance that no one else here dared to believe you deserved. Lena's eyes widened. Her hands shook, but inside her heart burned stronger than before. She nodded. I won't waste it, she whispered. The boss placed his hand on the glowing table. Then let it be written from this moment. She is under my protection. The chamber erupted into chaos, voices clashing. Impossible! This breaks tradition. Humans cannot. But in the storm of protest, the boss stood tall, unshaken, and beside him, Lena stood too, still dressed in rags, but no longer invisible for the first time. The aliens began to see her not as a beggar, but as a spark that could grow into fire and far away. Unseen beyond the polished windows, dark ships gathered at the edge of the system, their engines silent, their banners unknown. Something was coming. And Lena's presence would change more than anyone in that chamber could imagine. The trial begins. The next morning, the starport was buzzing with rumor. Aliens whispered in the halls about the human girl in rags. Some laughed, saying she would fail before sunset. Others watched in silence, curious why the boss had chosen her. Lena stood in the training chamber, its walls lined with glowing panels and humming machines. Rows of aliens in fine uniforms sat like judges on a high balcony. At the center of the room stood the boss, calm as ever. Today, he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. We test Lena not for strength of body, but strength of will. If she succeeds, she stays. If she fails, she leaves. The receptionist was there too, standing at the edge with a bitter smile. She will break, the receptionist whispered to another alien. Humans are weak, they do not last under pressure. But Lena did not look at her. She only thought of her brother. His voice when he told her, don't give up, no matter what. The first trial began. A glowing orb rose into the air, releasing waves of sound that rattled bones. It was a machine designed to test focus. Most aliens lasted minutes before their minds collapsed under the pressure. Stand before it, the boss said, and keep your thoughts clear. Lena stepped forward. The sound hit her like knives inside her skull. Her vision blurred, her legs shook, she almost fell. But she clenched her fists, whispering to herself, For him? For him? The minutes dragged on. Aliens in the balcony leaned forward, shocked. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. By then, most trained officers would have collapsed. But Lena stood, trembling but unbroken. Finally, the orb dimmed and fell silent. She gasped, nearly falling to her knees. But the boss's hand steadied her. You lasted longer than any recruit I've seen in years, he said quietly. The chamber filled with stunned whispers. The second trial began. A glowing orb rose into the air, releasing waves of sound that rattled bones. It was a machine designed to test focus. Most aliens lasted minutes before their minds collapsed under the pressure. Stand before it, the boss said, and keep your thoughts clear. Lena stepped forward. The sound hit her like knives inside her skull. Her vision blurred, her legs shook. She almost fell, but she clenched her fists, whispering to herself. For him. For him. The minutes dragged on. Aliens in the balcony leaned forward. Shocked, 5 minutes passed, then 10. By then, most trained officers would have collapsed. But Lena stood, trembling but unbroken. Finally, the orb dimmed and fell silent. She gasped, nearly falling to her knees. But the boss's hand steadied her. You lasted longer than any recruit I've seen in years, he said quietly. The chamber filled with stunned whispers. The second trial began this time. They placed before her a puzzle of shifting light and shadow, a test of logic used to judge officers for high command. The symbols twisted endlessly, confusing even experienced minds. Aliens smirked, sure she would fail. But Lena knelt down, studying the pattern. Her eyes followed the flow carefully. She had grown up fixing broken machines on Earth. To her, the puzzle was not strange, it was familiar. Within minutes, she pressed the right sequence, and the puzzle cracked open. Light spilled out. Forming a star map, the crowd gasped. Impossible, one alien whispered. She solved it faster than our cadets. The receptionist's face darkened. She clenched her claws, her pride burning. The third trial was announced, a combat simulation. Not to win, but to endure. She was given no weapon, only her bare hands. And before her appeared a towering training droid, its arms heavy with steel. Survive 5 minutes, the boss said. That is all. The droid lunged, swinging with crushing force. Lena dodged, barely escaping the strike. Her heart raced, fear clawed at her chest. But she remembered the boss's words. Strength is hidden in the spirit. Again and again she rolled, ducked, and stumbled, her arms bruised, her breath ragged. But each time she fell, she rose again. The 5 minutes stretched like an eternity. Then, at last, the signal sounded, and the droid froze. She collapsed to the floor, chest heaving, but she was alive. She had endured. The chamber erupted into noise, aliens shouting, some in awe, some in anger. The boss raised his hand again, silencing them. You have seen, he said firmly, you have judged. Now you understand. Humans are not weak. This girl carries more strength in her spirit than all your fine robes and titles combined. The receptionist trembled with fury. Her laughter from yesterday now a memory that stung her pride like fire, she whispered. This cannot be allowed. She cannot rise above us, and somewhere beyond the chamber in the dark corridors of the station, a message was sent to the unknown ships waiting at the edge of the system. The words were simple but deadly. The human spark has appeared. Move in. Shadows at the gate night fell over the starport. The glowing towers dimmed. The trade halls emptied, and silence spread like a cloak. But beyond the calm surface, something darker moved in the void of space. A fleet of black ships drifted near the system's edge. Their banners carried no name, no honor, only hunger inside the station. Lena sat alone in a small chamber, nursing the bruises on her arms from the combat trial. Her body ached, but her spirit still burned. She had endured where others thought she would fall, yet doubt still gnawed at her. Can I really belong here? She whispered to herself. A knock at the door broke her thoughts. The boss entered, carrying 2 cups of warm drink. He handed one to her, his eyes calm. You did more than I expected today, he said softly. But your journey is just beginning. She lowered her eyes. They still don't accept me, she admitted. They see me as dirt, a beggar in rags. The boss leaned closer, his voice steady. Lena, respect is not given, it is earned through fire. And sometimes it is earned not in trials, but in crisis. Before she could reply, the station alarm blared. A sharp wail that shook the walls. Red lights flashed across the corridors. A voice echoed through the speakers. Alert! Unknown ships detected at the perimeter. Battle stations. The boss's face hardened. He set down his cup. It seems the fire has come sooner than I thought. He led her through rushing halls where soldiers and officers ran in panic. Screens lit up with images of the Black Fleet drawing closer, their numbers vast, their weapons glowing. In the command chamber, chaos reigned. Alien commanders shouted, pointing at maps. Fear spread across their faces. We are outnumbered. Their weapons cut through shields. We cannot hold them. The boss raised his voice, firm and commanding. Silence. The room froze. He turned to the screens. Studying the enemy fleet. They are not here to trade or talk, he said. They are here to destroy. And then his eyes moved to Lena. This is your test now, he said. You see the patterns others miss. Look at their movement. Tell me what you see. Her breath caught in her throat. All eyes turned to her. She felt the weight of 100 stares, doubting, waiting for her to fail, but she forced herself to focus on the glowing map of ships. She noticed something, a rhythm in their approach, The Black Fleet moved not as one but in 3 waves, their side flanks opening too wide, their center pushing too fast. They are overextending, she said quickly. If we strike the flanks first, the center will collapse. They will lose formation, the commanders scoffed. A human girl speaks of battle? Absurd. Now what does she know of war? But the boss raised his hand. She is right, he said, his tone sharp. I see it too. Their greed blinds them, their formation is weak. He turned to the officers. Prepare the flanking strike, load the rail cannons. All power to engines. The room burst into action. Ships shifted, weapons primed, orders shouted. And in that moment, many realized the boss had placed trust not in the old traditions, but in the human girl standing in rags but at the corner of the room. The receptionist stood with narrowed eyes. Her pride burned hotter than ever. She leaned close to another officer and whispered, "She cannot rise above us, not this human. If she survives this battle, we will lose all standing." The officer hesitated, but nodded slowly, and in that dark exchange, a new danger was born. Not just the enemy outside, but betrayal inside. Lena did not notice, her focus locked on the maps. Her heart pounded as the station prepared for war, and beyond the glass windows the Black Fleet closed in, their engines roaring, their weapons glowing, ready to strike. This was no trial, no test of training, this was real, and lives would be lost if she was wrong. The boss looked at her one last time. "Stand firm, Lena," he said, "because tonight, the galaxy will learn what it means to trust a human." Fire in the void outside the starport lit with war. The Black Fleet surged forward like a wave of steel, their weapons glowing with deadly fire. The station shook as the first blasts struck its shields, sparks raining from the ceilings, panic spread among the alien officers, voices shouting over one another. But at the center of the command chamber stood Lena, her eyes fixed on the star map. Her heart pounded, fear clawed at her chest, yet her mind burned clear. She pointed to the flanks again. "Now, strike here before they close the gap!" The boss gave the order without hesitation. All rail cannons, fire! The starport's guns roared, streaks of light tearing into the enemy's side ships. Metal shattered. Explosions bloomed across the void. The Black Fleet staggered, their formation breaking exactly as Lena predicted. Gasps filled the chamber. "She was right," one alien whispered. "The humans saw what we could not." But the battle was far from over. The enemy regrouped, their center pushing harder, sending massive warships toward the weakened station. The floor rumbled, alarms screamed. The shields began to crack if they break through. "We're finished," a commander shouted. All eyes turned to Lena again. She stared at the map, sweat dripping down her face. She noticed the enemy's largest ship charging its main cannon, a shot that could end them all. Her mind raced, then it struck her. Their main ship is exposed at the rear. Its engines are unguarded. If we send our fastest fighters through the gap, we can disable it before it fires. The boss slammed his hand on the table. "You heard her, send the fighters now." The alien pilots hesitated, then obeyed. Fighters streaked through space, weaving past enemy fire. One by one they broke through, and with a final strike, they tore into the warship's engines. A blinding explosion lit the void. The enemy's flagship split apart. Their cannon never fired. Cheers erupted in the chamber. The tide of battle turned. The Black Fleet faltered, retreating into the dark. The station stood battered but alive. Yet even as victory rang, betrayal struck the receptionist. Her pride shattered. Her face twisted with fury, moved toward the command console, her claws hovering over the override, ready to shut down the station's weapons. "If she is praised, we are nothing," she hissed. "Better we all fall than let a human rise above us." But before she could act, Lena saw her. Their eyes locked across the chamber. Lena's voice rang out strong and clear. "Stop her!" Guards rushed forward, grabbing the receptionist before she could strike. The chamber fell silent. All eyes turned from the traitor to the girl who had saved them twice. The boss stepped forward, his gaze cold on the trembling receptionist. "You mocked her, you doubted her, and now you betrayed us all. Remember this, our enemies were outside, but you chose to become one of them." The guards dragged the receptionist away, her laughter bitter and broken, but no one listened. The eyes of the chamber had already shifted to Lena. The boss raised his voice so all could hear. "Today we survived not because of our weapons, not because of our old traditions, but because of her, a human girl who came here in rags and proved that spirit is greater than pride." The aliens bowed their heads, some in respect, others in shame, and for the first time, Lena felt their eyes not as knives, but as recognition. Her body still shook, her bruises still burned, But inside her heart was light. She had come for work, for survival. Yet she had found something greater. A place where her voice mattered. The boss placed a hand on her shoulder. "Welcome, Lena," he said quietly. "From this day you are not just a worker. You are one of us." And beyond the cracked glass of the starport, the stars burned bright. A reminder that even in the cold void, a single spark could change the course of a galaxy.